Well, the holiday season obviously is upon us here. You may be getting ready for presents and decorations and, of course, the gathering of friends. It's also important that you make sure that you don't spread any unwanted, invasive, hungry guests or pests in your home, too. There's been a lot of attention paid to the spotted lanternfly here in Jersey. And my guest on the Miller Lite Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline is with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, and also the National Policy Manager for the spotted lanternfly. So if anybody knows what these bugs are all about, it's my guest, John Crowe, who's with us this morning. John, good morning. It's Bert Barron. How are you today?
I'm great, Bert. Thanks for having me on your show today.
Here in New Jersey, John, a lot of people, there was a big uproar about this spotted lanternfly and the potential damage that it could cause, particularly if you inadvertently bring it into your home when it's hiding inside a Christmas tree. Is there a lot of hype to this, John? Is this a legitimate concern that we should have with this spotted lanternfly here in New Jersey?
Well, I think that any pest could be moved by the Christmas trees. You know, everybody wants to have a Christmas tree inside their house because they're great to have. You know, they're wonderful smells, they're wonderful things to have. And we could definitely move them safely just by doing a few simple things, like looking for egg masses this time of year, and making sure that they're free of any kind of pests. I mean, any basic maintenance that people are doing, just to bring anything inside their house, making sure it's clean, is a basic step that we can do to prevent that and make it safe. And
the time to do this, John, I would think, obviously, is before you bring it into the home. You know, set it out in the driveway or put it on the back patio or something and really, really give it a close, thorough inspection, right? Is that how it's done?
Exactly, yeah. And the egg masses are going to look like gray putty on the trunk of the tree usually. But this is true of any pest. You want to give it a good shake. You want to just look at it, make sure there's no mud, nothing that looks like mud. And if there is, scrape that off, put it in a little plastic baggie with some alcohol and throw it away.
Just like that?
Yep.
Okay.
It's very safe, very easy to do.
Worst case scenario, someone fails to closely inspect their tree. They bring it up, they set it up, and it just happens to be loaded with these spotted lanternflies here. What's the worst case scenario? What does the homeowner experience?
Well, we had a situation like that happen in New Jersey just last year. Mm-hmm. And the spotted lanternfly will emerge from its egg mass early, and if you let it sit in your house till January, so you'll have these like any critter though. This happens, people might have spiders that this happens to, or praying mantis. And most insects are completely harmless to people, and definitely the spotted lanternfly and praying mantis are harmless to people.
Okay. See, I used to be concerned with spiders. That was always the big concern with me. What about bats, John? Do bats sometimes hide in Christmas trees, or is that just kind of urban legend?
I would say that's probably urban legend. I'm not an expert in that, but it's not something that I've very experienced.
Okay, so you want people, really look. You're looking at the branches, you're looking at the trunk, the stem. You look at the tree up and down and make sure it's nice and clean, right?
Exactly. This is when you're on the lot looking at it, or the place that you're buying the tree in the farm. You definitely are going to do that regardless. You want to make sure that it's full of needles. It's no harder than looking at that during that process. All
right, yeah. So support. I mean, a lot of local organizations, John. We get fire companies and we get a lot of civic groups here that sell trees for fundraisers, and you want to be able to continue to support them. But just go ahead and continue to do so. But just take that extra step and give that tree a very close and thorough inspection, and continue to support the organizations that sell these to make money, that's for sure. John, why is it not a good idea to move firewood off your property? I thought, firewood is like a haven for mice and things to live in. Leave the firewood on your property? That's what you're saying for people should do with fireplaces?
Exactly. New Jersey recently eradicated Asian longhorn beetle, but there are lots of other invasive pests like emerald ash borer that could live in the firewood, and so they'll go undetected by most people because they live under the bark of the wood, and they're responsible for destructing. Emerald ash borer alone destroyed over tens of millions of ash trees in 30 different states, including New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, so that's something to be concerned about as well. And it seems like with these pests here, John Crowe is our guest. He's with the Department of Agriculture. He's the policy manager for the spotted lanternfly. We're just talking about some safety things for Christmas trees and things. It seems like it kind of goes in cycles, John. There was a time here when the caterpillar, this moth, this gypsy moth, was like the be-all, end-all. It was going to deforest the entire state of New Jersey unless we did something about it. And now I very rarely see a nest or really hear about that anymore. Is it because a lot of times steps are taken, whether it's spraying or steps that are taken to kind of eradicate them or kind of cut down on the numbers of them as to why we don't see pests come back year after year?
Well, exactly. There's a lot of different reasons why people aren't going to see the pests more frequently. First and foremost, people get used to a pest over time. And the management strategies, because people are getting used to that, the farmers and management of it is getting easier and better. We're able to better have control of the pests for our pest programs. And definitely people being more aware of different insect pests and preventing the movement of those is something that really is an important aspect of it. I can remember being up in New Jersey several times and seeing, even of recent, gypsy moth egg masses and different defoliation happening up there on the oak trees around the New York area.
Yeah, they're still around. It's something that you just gotta kind of watch for, I guess. John, as we wrap up, I like ladybugs. I'll see a couple flying around the house every once in a while. Are ladybugs destructive? Should I be concerned if I see a couple ladybugs around the house?
No, there are very few pests, like hungry pests, of invasive species that are a human health concern. It's really mostly just a nuisance pest, like most of these. Even spotted lanternfly is a nuisance to most people. Farmers, it's more than a nuisance, but we really want to make sure that people aren't moving the spotted lanternfly around during this time of year, and taking easy steps like cleaning off the Christmas tree is something that people can do today to really help us prevent that spread.
Yeah, that's important. And ladybugs are so cute, John. I feel bad when I have to get them out of the house. What about stink bugs? They're a problem here in New Jersey. Anything we can do about them?
Yeah, they're in the same category as lady beetles. They really are more of a nuisance pest, but to homeowners and the farmers, they could become more problematic depending on the populations of them. But again, I think that the most important thing we could talk about is not moving these things around, especially with like stink bug, mailing things and making sure that they are not inside the packages we
Imagine
have.
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing, though, especially with stink bugs, because they crawl all over the place and they get wherever they are. And we don't need any uninvited guests in our mail.
Like little crawling along little shields. They kind of drive me crazy. John, thank you. This is great information today. So we want people, check the wreaths, check the trees, make sure everything's nice and clean before you bring it in your home, and you should be okay. That's kind of the message we want today, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
John, thank you. Have a great holiday. Appreciate the time this morning.
All right.